Hello and welcome to this week's Curator's Corner. I'm Adriana Dunn, the Museum Curator at the West Tennessee Delta Heritage Center. Today we have a very special guest, Miss JoLynne Minnick. JoLynne is one of the curatorial interns within the museum, so today we're going to talk about her exhibition that is coming up and just get a bit of information about her as an intern, as a grad student, who she is, and then talk about the material and content that is going into her exhibition in the next couple weeks. So welcome, JoLynne. It's so great to have you here. So JoLynne, why don't you just tell us first off, where are you from?
Actually, I don't have a hometown. I was in the military.
Okay, so lots of traveling around.
Yeah, every 3-ish years, moved around, so I just usually claim where my parents are.
That's a respectable answer.
They're in the Seattle area right now.
Okay,
so
all right, very
I'm
cool.
from Seattle.
Awesome. All right, and so what is your program that you're in right now?
So I am in an art history master's program, focusing on ancient Egyptian art archaeology.
That's too cool. So what got you into the ancient history and archaeology?
As cliche as it is, Brendan Fraser's mummy.
I mean, let's be honest. What kid at 10 to whatever was not into Brendan Fraser? So.
Oh yeah, The Mummy and The Mummy 2.
Oh yeah,
fantastic movies.
Oh yeah, they're the best.
And then those child DK encyclopedias. I found the one on Egypt, and I can't even say how many times I checked it out. Nobody else could read it because I always had it too much.
Yeah, and everybody kind of gets over that fun phase in Egyptology and stuff, but you just kind of step with it and ran and actually making it a profession out of it, which is incredible. So.
Yeah, there was a period of time where I'm just like, oh, they've probably found everything in Egypt, but then no.
They don't. They
never do.
They're always uncovering new things.
Oh,
well, that is so exciting. So tell me a little bit about your professional background.
So I have not done much in museums themselves.
Okay.
I've done a lot of volunteer work.
Nice.
Working as a docent, giving tours, and then I have also worked as an archive volunteer.
Very cool.
Which was really cool. A lot of data entry, but still.
Sometimes it's fun too.
It is.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And then I've also done some archaeology. So a lot of my stuff is more archaeology or language based and outside of museums.
So you were digging it out of the ground and now you're putting it in a museum.
Yes.
So you get the whole experience. That's awesome. That's awesome. And so you like your program and everything? And
I do.
Okay. So what got you into museums?
Well, I've always liked them. I've always enjoyed going to museums, but in my undergraduate, I went on a tour of museums in Europe, and that was when it hit. Going through all those museums and seeing all of that history, I'm just like, I want to know what goes on behind the scenes.
That's amazing.
So
yeah,
that's me doing that.
That's very understandable. That's awesome. So you were doing a curatorial internship with us.
Yes.
Why don't you explain what you're doing?
So my exhibition that I'm putting together is on archaeology in West Tennessee.
Too cool.
I know. I've done a lot of archaeology not in America. So doing it here it's different but also the same.
That's really cool.
So I started off by looking at different archaeological sites, and then eventually through my research was able to learn more about the different periods of occupation, and then now I've got the objects, and I've been able to get loans from people from all of the archaeological periods, and so now I've got projectile coins and pottery, and it's all just coming together.
That's incredible. So you are doing something on indigenous groups of West Tennessee.
Yes.
Very cool. Okay. And so what was your inspiration to do something with archaeology within your exhibition? Was it just your background or?
Partially my background, but also when you sit there and have these artifacts, I want to know where they're from. I want to know what the background is, and so being able to look at where they're coming from, if we have that information, and if not, talking about other ones in the area that possibly this is where it could be found, or things like this are found there.
Well, let's take a look and go behind the scenes of what you're doing in your exhibition and see, kind of get a sneak peek of what's to come. Okay. All right, we are officially behind the scenes with JoLynne putting her exhibition together. So I'm gonna have JoLynne take the reins. So what are you doing right now?
So I just finished doing condition reports on these objects, and so now I'm going to be putting them inside the case.
Very cool. So explain to us what condition reports are.
So condition reports are done when you get an object for an exhibition on loan, and just what we want to do is to look at it, take its dimensions, and make sure we note any cracks or scratches, just so that when we give it back, we can say this is how it was when we have it. And so then if anything new pops up, we can try to figure out where that possibly came from.
And track everything,
Yeah.
the overall condition of the object.
Yeah.
Perfect. So why don't you explain to us, give us an overview, and I know that we're gonna have to wait until it's all together, but can you give us a little bit of an overview of how you're organizing your objects and what's going in there?
Yeah, so I have pottery and then projectile points, which are either arrowheads, dart heads, or stone tools. And I wanted to do, it's going to be in a chronology, so the oldest stuff is going to be over here on the left.
Cool.
While the newest stuff is going to be on the right. And with the newest stuff, that's where we get this intact pottery pieces. A lot of the older stuff, it's just little tiny pieces because that's what survives. But we'll be able to see the progression of how they made things.
That's really, really cool. So you're really seeing kind of in action it's almost like you're on site with
Yeah.
your exhibition.
Yeah.
Like you're seeing what's being unearthed and its significance.
Yeah,
That is
and
so cool.
some stuff is completely intact, like this bowl, and some has been reconstructed.
Well, that's great. That's a part of what you're doing too, is just making sure everything is clean and ready to go into its exhibition case. All right. Well, I guess we're going to have to wait until it's completely done, even though some of us, not totally me, are super excited to see this come together. So, well, thank you for your demonstration, JoLynne.
All right, so now that we've gotten a sneak peek of JoLynne's exhibition, I wanted to ask you too, so what was your favorite part of putting this whole exhibition together?
Honestly, it was going out and finding the objects.
Yeah?
Because, you can sit there and do so much research, but like going out to Chuckalissa and being able to handle the objects and talk about them with people there, and then being able to bring them back here
Absolutely.
and handling them again, just seeing that history.
Yeah,
And
oh yeah.
I love looking at the history and saying like, oh, this is quite a few hundred years old and I'm holding it in my hands.
Absolutely, and especially during COVID, I know that the loaning process was a little bit challenging. So to work with Chuckalissa and the professionals there was a very cool experience. Awesome. And so what would you say, out of all the things within that you've done as a curatorial intern, what would you say is the most advantageous experience you've had that you can use for the future as a museum professional?
Honestly, the whole thing.
Oh, that's great.
Because going into it, I mean, in school they tell you how you do to do these things, but until you actually do it and work through it step by step by yourself, it's totally different. And I feel like I have ingrained more of the information in the process now, doing it by myself. Well, sort of by myself.
Yeah.
Into putting it together.
Absolutely. Well, that's amazing to hear, and we're so glad to have you as an intern, to have worked with you. It's been an awesome experience all around. And JoLynne will be featured in this upcoming exhibition exchange, talking about her exhibition with Ron Brister, who we've also gotten a loan from. So be sure to check that out. That's going to be on November 5th on a Thursday from 6 to 7. It's going to be an awesome event. I know I'm looking forward to it, and JoLynne is going to be talking about her components that she put together as within the exhibition. So we're very excited for that.
I'm excited too.
Yay! All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this week's Curator's Corner. We'll see you again next week.